Hello, welcome back to Make It with Alice. This is your communications, confidence, and emotional intelligence channel. So, a lot of what we cover here is communication and emotional intelligence. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about communication, but not verbal, nonverbal. So, that means what you do with your body and also with your thoughts determines the outcome of your actions. So, this is really wild because I've had a recent disagreement with my roommate, and I'm going to share with you really what's going on. And it's important to understand problems because I think we spend so much time in our head and we forget to spend time in our hearts. I don't know if you know, but the heart frequency and electrical charge is much higher and stronger than the brain. And why is this important? Because a lot of your problems can be solved if you go into your heart. And for me, it's extremely difficult. I grew up with a mother who had a lot of masculine energy. I grew up in New York City, a lot of masculinity around, the masculine characteristics like be progressive and ambitious and have purpose, be goal-oriented. And I lost touch with my feminine side. So when I came to Spain, I became very feminine, receptive, focusing on being rather than doing. And this is actually important because think of it this way. When we have a problem, communications, we're doing, okay? We are trying to solve the problem. We're thinking about how to solve the problem. So we spend a lot of time thinking, but what we don't do is not think and just let it happen and come back to our heart center. Because here's the thing about communication. What you think becomes reality. Your thoughts have weight. Now, for those of you who love quantum physics, for those of you that are learning a different language and you're trying to understand culture, you're trying to understand your boss and relationships, what ends up happening is that all communication breaks down because we could only do so much if we're in our head. So back to my roommate, we're going through some challenges and it's to the point where I'm like, I want to move out. She wants me to move out. Today, I had to ask myself, like, am I in my heart? Is that ego-based? Is that fear-based? I need to move out, find a place to live. Is that ego-based? Like, I'm right, you're wrong. And then today when we had a conversation, of course, when you go back into your heart, you have to like really be honest with yourself. And then I told her over the conversation, was really hard. I said, listen, we both are good people. We're both kind people. We mean well. Like we actually mean well for the other person. Like there is no problem. We're creating the problem in our head. And the funny thing is we're both the same personality and we're both judgmental. As much as even I tried not to judge, we are judgmental. And we take the problems personally. Then we try to understand. We don't have enough energy to understand. Our thoughts have vibrations. She's the type of person that if I'm thinking, and my ex-boyfriend was also like this, if I'm thinking something that is wrong, she'll be in another room and say like, are you okay? And it's a gift, but that means it makes her sensitive. And since we're talking about heart, it makes her sensitive. And that means you have to be responsible, not just what you say, but what you think. So this is a whole lesson in taking responsibility for your own thoughts and actions and what you communicate, what you don't communicate. How do you use your hand gestures? And a lot of people will tell me, well, this is really hard. I'm exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted. Well, we're emotionally exhausted because we're overthinking. We're not even in our hearts. We've shut off our heart. Why do you think so many of us just change relationships? We're transactional. And I can tell you about transaction because as a New Yorker, I know all about transactions, right? We have 10 minutes to eat. We build relationships based on benefits and transactions. It's a learned behavior. And in this consumer society in modern life, we just think like, oh, we don't like you, we're just going to replace you. And it's extremely difficult to go through the process of just communicating what I want and what I need. We had a disagreement about the lease situation where we both wanted something, but we didn't go back to the lease. In our mind, we can just say, hey, let's just review and go back to the lease and then negotiate. But both her and I were in like an emotional state. So things were said. And then at the end, we actually just realized we're emotional. Let's go back to the lease. Let's come up to a new agreement. And sometimes with communication, what I'm learning more and more, and I think this is like what makes me a better teacher, is don't spend so much time thinking about how to communicate. I mean, yes, we want to say what our wants and needs. But communication, the most important one is what you don't say. It's what your body says. It's what your thoughts say. And that's so powerful. And I'm continuously reminded of that. For example, when I'm teaching and I'm in a bad mood, I have to meditate or I have to go to the sea to rejuvenate. Sometimes I cancel classes. And if I don't, my students notice. For those of you that don't know, I teach English and I focus on mentorship, discussing emotional intelligence, communications. And I work with people from around the world, business leaders, entrepreneurs, moms, dads, just people who are going through the same problems as you and I. And I recently listened to a podcast Madonna had. She was actually on a podcast with Jay said it was her first interview in 9 years. And she's been forthright about discussing Kabbalah. And that's something I'm going to be looking into. She basically said, we're conduits of light. We channel energy. Her artistry, her creativity, it's not hers. Your ideas are not yours. You're just tapping into the universe. You're just observing the environment. If you understand that we're all in it together, we're all going through the same problems, we don't have to stay isolated. We don't have to stay angry because everybody is going through the same thing. Why? Because we're part of nature. We're part of the cosmos. We're part of the universe. Just because Madonna is Madonna and you're you and I'm me doesn't mean that she has no problems. Well, she does. And her biggest teachers are her children. And sometimes, they reflect back to us what we don't want to see. Same thing with relationships, whether it's your husband and wife, whether it's your romantic partner. So we have to spend more time in our hearts and sit with it and just not react and not do nothing. And quantum physics is being one with universe. Quantum physics is being connected with your environment, not trying to control the outcomes, not always trying to get your way, not always trying to communicate with words. Sometimes it's just sitting. A lot of my students, they tell me I'm lonely. I miss touching. I miss a hug. I miss hugging my wife. I miss the connection. Connection really means is touch. I can't touch you. I can give you a hug, but I can just go like this. We're limited with technology. We're limited even with video communication. So I'm going to try to do my best to be in my heart as I continue creating these videos. We're already a year and a half on YouTube. I started with trying to figure it out, being in Spain, being an entrepreneur and launching Make It With Alice. It used to be called Get By Make It With Alice just because I was struggling with the same things you're struggling with. And I wanted to learn the tools and communicate the knowledge that I acquired with you. And hopefully it makes your day better. And we always end with each episode with do the best that you can every day.